आनन्दमानन्द करप्रसन्नं प्रेमस्वरूपं ब्रजभावयुक्तं योगीन्द्रमीड्यं भवरोगवैद्यं गुरुं कृपालुं प्रणमामि नित्यम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। वन्दे बरसानानन्दां रंगीली महल वासिनी गोपिकां परमां शुद्धां ह्लादिनीं शक्तिरूपिणीं। नमः कमलनाभाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमलपादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तग्वं हा देवमात्म बुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। Inquisitive souls, we'll do Sankirtan for a few minutes. In the meantime, you can get your questions ready that you would like to ask during this Q&A session. There'll be a mic runner, that is Ashirvad will be the mic runner on this side, Vrutti will be the mic runner on that side. And you can, after this Sankirtan, you can put up your hand and you have a question. Bhajo Giridhar Govind Gopala Bhajo Giridhar Govind Gopala Bhajo Giridhar गोविंद गोपाला गोविंद गोपाला भजो गिरिधर गोविंद बोलिए, सब लोग बोलिए, ताली बजाइए। भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला। भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला। भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला। भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला। भजो मुरली मनोहर नंद लाला। भजो मुरली मनोहर नंद लाला। भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला। 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 बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। जगत गुरु तम श्री कृपालु जी महाराज की जय। We'll begin the question and answer session now. Please raise your hand.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
So you were talking about not hurting other people's feelings, but there's also situations where you also need to do things for yourself too, and people might not agree with that, and they might be upset with that. So how do you find the line between not hurting people and also doing things for your own benefit?
So when scriptures say that hurting other people's feelings is a sin, what that means is you're deliberately going out of your way to hurt someone's feelings. Now let's say there's someone, you're in your family, and someone in the family wants to practice devotion, want to follow a guru, and another family member says, you're not going to do it. And this person says, no, I still want to follow my guru. So the other person's feelings are hurt. But that's all right, that's okay. You're not going to be, you're not committing a sin you're not deliberately hurting the feelings of another. It's just that this person reacted in such a way that he or she feels hurt. So what it means is you deliberately go out of your way to hurt someone's feelings. That's what is being talked about in the scriptures. Otherwise, people feel hurt by even the most innocent actions that you may perform. It's people react, we also react to people react to us. But when you go out of your way, when your intention is not good, that's when it's considered a sin.
What would you do if someone was hurt by something you did and it was unintentional? Like, do you try and fix it in any way, or?
If possible, if it's possible to communicate with this person and say, this was not my intention, then it should be. I believe in communication. Sometimes it's a scary thing to do, but communication is good. And sometimes it helps. Sometimes it may not help, but at least you've tried. And then you have to be satisfied knowing that God knows your heart and you did not, that you know that your intentions were good. Yes.
Radhe Radhe. Okay, that works. I would like to ask you about tears in sadhana. So what I've noticed, with myself at least, is that when I am sitting in sadhana, sometimes tears do come, sometimes tears don't come. If possible, I'd like to know why those tears come, and how do I bring them more, how do I keep that purity of tears, and how do I bring tears for devotion?
Okay.
And one more thing that I've noticed is whenever I do bring tears, it's only for Guru, not for Sri Radha Krishna. Am I doing something wrong?
No. So let me just start from the beginning. Sometimes you're able to shed a few tears, and sometimes you're not. It just seems like there's a dry spell. And sometimes you feel it's easy to cry for God and Guru, you said, for Sri Maharaji. It's because at different times we have different feelings. We have the three modes of Maya within us. Sometimes you're feeling very worldly, sometimes you're feeling very godly, sometimes you're feeling in between. Sometimes the sanskars from the past, they come and they will not allow you to cry. Although we should not use that as an excuse. Yet this is the reason, these are some of the reasons. Sometimes it's just our own carelessness. We're not trying hard enough. So only thing you can do is to make an effort. So just make a sincere effort and then make some more effort. And if you are shedding tears for only your Guru and not for God, that's fine. There's nothing to be alarmed about, because since your Guru is divine, since you have a genuine Guru, the Guru is divine, then whether you shed tears for God or Guru, it's going to give you the same benefit. In fact, Bhagwan Shri Krishna is happier if you shed tears for your Guru. Shri Krishna says in the scriptures that he says, I am not as happy with those who are directly devoted to me as I am with those who are devoted to my pure devotees. Right? So it doesn't matter that you are shedding tears for your Guru. The benefit is the same as shedding tears for Sri Krishna. Welcome.
Radhe Radhe Devi Ji. So
Radhe.
following up on the tears question, you mentioned sometimes they won't come because you're not trying hard enough. I guess what I'm trying to understand is, I know there's a story too that Maharaji tells about putting some devotee
Chilies?
putting chilies or something. But in my mind, I was thinking this is something that just happens to you rather than you doing it. So when you said you're not trying hard enough, can you elaborate on that?
Yes, it is something. Tears are something you need to work on yourself. They don't wait for them to happen. The mind. It all starts with the mind. So the mind is full of thoughts, worldly thoughts, and when we are trying to take the mind towards God, the mind does put up a resistance. So working hard in this context means that you are working really hard to take your mind away from the world of Maya, and you're trying to guide that mind toward God and Guru. And you are trying to convince the mind using philosophy that your Guru has given you. You are convincing the mind, you are instructing the mind, you are reminding your mind that Sri Krishna is your one and only, and you have not seen him yet. You have not served him directly yet. You haven't heard the sound of his flute yet. And lifetime after lifetime is passing, and you have not yet had his darshan. So convincing your mind of this will produce those tears. So you are actually actively working on your mind. You're telling your mind why it should love Sri Krishna. And the more you convince it, the better it will be. The more there's a likelihood of it being convinced, and then tears will come. So tears are not something that will happen automatically. You have to work on them. I mean, not just the tears, but just to become emotional to get to the point where you feel very emotional about Sri Krishna. That he truly is my beloved. He truly is my father and mother and Lord and master and best friend and everything into one. And the deeper that realization gets, that I haven't even seen him. I have never experienced him. And how sad that is. How sad that is. And I have this opportunity now to love him. And my mind still wants to think about the world. So the deeper you get into this, the deeper the realization gets that this is a shame. This is ridiculous also. This is very bad. This mind is so spoiled. It's so easy to cry for no reason in the world. We watch a movie and tears come. You watch a TV show, you watch something, some scene somewhere, and you feel like crying, and you do cry. So that's what you tell your mind. That means that you're working on it. That's how you work on it. To reminding the mind about the philosophy, the teachings, and hey, when are you going to follow the teachings? You behave with the mind any which way, that will produce the desired result. You convince the mind, try bribing the mind, try to, you use loving ways, scold the mind, any which way. So you have to work on the tears. They won't come automatically. Because if they were to come automatically, then there would be no point of doing sadhana. And the whole sadhana concept is that you try. I'm going to try. I'm going to practice. So that is not self-effort, but that is our own individual effort we're putting in. It's like people say, muhabbat ki nahi jati, muhabbat ho hi jati hai. That love is not something that you practice. Love is something that happens spontaneously. But it's not like that. Sri Maharaj Ji says, if love was something so spontaneous, then innumerable lives have passed and we have yet to fall in love with the one who is our one and only. So it means that love is not something that happens. Love is something that must be practiced. In the same vein, tears are not going to happen automatically. They're not going to flow automatically. We have to work at shedding tears. And that is what sadhana is. Practice of devotion.
Radhe Radhe Didi Ji.
Radhe Radhe.
When I used to work at NICU, I used to see little babies when they're born with, a lot of anomalies, a lot of difficulties. Some of them don't even survive. But knowing what we know by now, like, every person is born with their sanchit karmas and, prarabdha is already. But how do you explain that? How do you console or comfort the parents when you're talking to them because they know this baby's not going to survive? So how do you, what is my role at that time?
You should definitely not tell them the philosophy at that time. You should give them a hug. You should grieve alongside with them. Be compassionate. Be compassionate and genuinely say you're very sorry. You will say I'm very sorry. If there was anything, whatever you would like to say in that regard. Even when I am talking to someone who has had a loss in the family, I never give a lecture. I never tell them the philosophy. This was meant to happen. No, it doesn't help at that point. It's just that they're going through a very difficult time, and at that time, it would be so helpful for them to have someone someone on whose shoulders they can cry, who will cry along with them. That's what you should do. That is your duty.
Radhe Radhe, Didi Ji.
Radhe Radhe.
Didi Ji, along the lines of the tears and sadhana, in the last few days of lectures, you talked about tears today. So, yes, we need to work on it. But also, Didi Ji, I have heard many times, you should not hide, but gopaniyam prayatnate, right, about your bhakti. So when you are in a sat, so I guess in my mind, it's contradictory to me. Like, it's because tears are physical reaction to what we are trying to do. So it's contradictory to me. If you can shed some more light on that.
Certainly, the scriptures say gopaniyam prayatnataha. So hide your love for God. And that is what should be done. But there are times when you cannot hide it, and then there's nothing to worry about. When the scriptures say gopaniyam, what they're really referring to is that if you don't make a deliberate outward show of your inner love. Don't go out of your way to show people, look, I'm shedding tears. Look at me, I'm crying for God. But when you feel like crying and you cannot hide those tears, that's perfectly fine. And everyone should have their eyes closed anyway, if people are around you. And they have their eyes closed, they don't know that you are crying. And you're not wailing, you're not making a noise, you're not screaming, you are just shedding tears. That's perfectly all right. As long as a person is not using it for entertainment purposes. That, look at me, I have become a gopi, I am Mirabai reincarnated. That would be wrong. So that's what is to be guarded against. That's what we should not do, but otherwise it's fine. You're crying, you're shedding tears, and you're trying to control them. They cannot be controlled, that's fine. Nobody is listening to you crying, it's very quiet, it's fine.
Thank you, Didi Ji.
Most welcome.
Didi Ji, one more similar you also talk again you said our job is to focus on sadhana. You know, we need to practice.
Right.
I think I have read somewhere seva is bigger than sadhana. And so that also, you know, is slightly contradictory in my mind, if you can help with that.
Yes, Sri Maharaji himself has said that seva is the biggest. Seva is the highest concept. And sadhana will never be, it never was, nor will it ever be greater than seva. So what does that mean? That seva, which is greater than sadhana, is the seva that a devotee is doing after having done a lot of sadhana, who is so firmly planted in sadhana that when she's doing seva and sadhana together. But if someone has not done sadhana, or has done very little sadhana, has practiced very little devotion, then when he does seva, then sometimes he's doing it out of, he does it begrudgingly, or he might do it with anger, or there's ego in there, there's envy in there. So all these feelings come in when we are doing seva, but there's no strength of sadhana in there. So when sadhana, that person, that satsangi, that aspiring devotee has done enough sadhana, he's still doing it, but he's come to a point where he could do his seva with humility and with gratitude. And if someone else comes along and says, hey, I want to do this seva, you go in there. All right, with humility. Okay, it's fine. And you know, I have this seva, okay, that's fine. Hanumanji comes to mind. When Bhagwan Sri Ram returned to Ayodhya after 14 years, Hanumanji and many others went along with him in the Pushpak Viman. And then everyone saw that Hanumanji was always by Bhagwan Ram's side, and everybody thought, you know what, we will take up all the sevas. The list of sevas was made, and they took up all the sevas. They didn't leave anything for Hanumanji. Hanumanji gladly accepted it, and he said, but there's one seva that nobody took, and that is to snap the fingers when Bhagwan Ram yawns. There's a tradition in India, when somebody yawns and you snap your fingers. So I will do the chutki bajane wali seva. And I think there's a lot of humility in that. Every seva has been taken, and he doesn't say, what's this? Every seva has been taken, this is not good. You people, ye to sajish hai mere khilaf. You know, you have all revolting against me, this is not good. He just found a seva to do. Then everybody thought how intelligent he is. So there should be humility in doing seva. There should be sense of gratitude. I'm so grateful to do this seva. Sri Maharaji used to say that clean the gutters in Mangar, because the lower the seva, the better it is for you, so that your pride doesn't increase. So humility and gratitude should be part of the seva. And for that we need a lot of sadhana. We need a lot of sadhana. So when sadhana is there to back up that seva, to strengthen that feelings of gratitude and humility, then seva is much greater than sadhana. Why? Because when we're doing seva, we're doing two things, seva plus sadhana. When we're doing sadhana, we're just doing sadhana, one thing. But right away, if we just say, I'm going to concentrate on seva, I will not do any sadhana, that would be a mistake, because we are not good enough sadhaks yet that we can do seva without envy, without pride, without feelings of whatever feelings we may get. So that's why Sri Maharaji said, seva is much better than, is higher than sadhana.
Thank you, Didi Ji.
You're welcome.
Radhe Radhe Didi.
Radhe.
So I have heard from Maharaji's lecture that you should always shed tears for God and Guru only.
Yes.
Now, sometimes when I see suffering in the world, for example, somebody posts a picture on my Facebook, small kids begging or suffering or something like that, I do get emotional about it. And then I have to tell myself, no, don't even get emotional because your tears should be only for God and Guru. So, can you explain, is that okay, normal feelings to come, or it
That
should
is
not?
normal actually, because your feelings of compassion are coming up. And we are nothing if we're not compassionate. So your feelings of compassion they put a couple of tears in the eyes. And at the same time though, you have to think that, yes, this is, I'm feeling so much compassion, then I cannot even imagine how much compassion God must feel in this situation. And God knows what He's doing. Everything is going according to His plan. So I will trust Him to, I trust Him to do I trust Him fully. But yes, when we see a picture like, an image like that, we see so many images that put tears in the eyes. That means we are compassionate. But we're not getting carried away with that. We're not now, okay, now I'm going to just take up this cause, I'm going to eradicate hunger in the world. Someone asked Ramakrishna Paramhans that your pracharaks, your preaching disciples, they don't do much social work. What they're doing, they're just going around preaching about God. And his answer, Ramakrishna Paramhans's answer was, there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in the world doing social work. So if my preaching disciples also do social work, who will do the spiritual work? So there are a lot of people doing social work, and we are happy about that. That's great. And in fact, we are doing a lot of social work too. If you look at our organization, we're doing a lot of social work, and in the sense, in the form of building hospitals. We have 3 charitable hospitals, and Sri Maharajji's compassion was unlimited. So Sri Maharajji started all this, and he also taught us to be much more compassionate and to do something about it. And so the organization, Jagat Guru Kripalu Parishad, of which Radha Madhav Society is a part, has built charitable hospitals and educational institutes, and the social work is going, charitable work activities are taking place throughout the year, many times a year. So what we do with that compassion is that we do the work, charitable work, through our spiritual organization. So then we are actually, Maharajji set up a system through which we, the aspiring devotees, can give our help to the organization. So that is spiritual benefits. We can reap the spiritual benefits of doing charity, giving charity to a spiritual organization headed by the Jagat Guru himself, Jagat Guruttam himself. So the benefits reaped of that charity are spiritual, which are the best, the greatest of all benefits, most spiritual benefits. And in the meantime, because of this charity, so many people are being helped with food and shelter and education and medical care. So it's fine that we feel compassion, because like I said, we are not even human if we don't feel that compassion. When we channel that compassion towards our organization and we help these people whose images we see. Radhe Radhe.
So my question is a general question. So Dharva and me used to go to satsang almost 3-4 years. When he was 4, we started. And then my friends, whenever we talk, we are going to satsang. So they said why are you taking your kid? He's just 4 years. He's very small. You have to take him to parks and all those things and all. Why you insisting him to go to devotional prayers more? Because we normally go every day, go to temple or satsang. So they are telling, because we balance the life, spiritual life and the personal life, but still they are asking, but what is the best way to communicate? Even I say, we are getting the happiness and bliss over there more, and we are very happy with seeing God and loving Him. even is there any best way to tell them? Because we can't deal with the satsangis all the time. We deal with the outside
course.
world too. outside
Yes,
satsang.
yes.
So we have to tell, because for me, if we don't start from the childhood, it's not like happens. It maybe happens, but it is the best practice to do. But there is no certain age for spirituality. But what is the best way to communicate, not hurting them and telling,
Communicate not what?
not hurting anybody, like what?
Why would they be hurt?
Yeah, I don't know.
This is your life and
Yeah.
it is your child. You can raise him as you like. First of all, you don't have to give an explanation. Secondly, but if you want to, you can just, well, of course, you will want to tell them something. So you tell them that I'm trying to give him I'm trying to give my son the best possible life by, creating a balance. Yes, I take him to parks, take him to movies, take him to other places, Chuck E. Cheese. I take him to different places, but I also take him to satsang because, this is a balanced life. I want him to know about who he is. I'm setting him up for a great life. If he avails of all these opportunities I'm providing for him, he will have a wonderful life. And you can tell him, I wish I had that. I wish I had that. I don't know if you did or not, but I wish I had what he has, the spirituality available to me at that age when I was his age. I didn't, but I want to give him something that I didn't have when I was so small. Yes.
In Bhagavatam, so Krishna said, Nirupeksham Munim Shantam Nirvairam Samadarshanam, the greatest devotee qualities. So that, if these qualities anybody have, Nirvairam, so that time I will just follow the devotee. In this world, without desireness and very quiet, if somebody, and always thinking about the God, Mananam. So how we can get these kind of qualities to progress in the spirituality in this present world?
You already know the answer to that question. Just by doing sadhana, by following the instructions of your Guru, Jagat Guru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj, and following his teachings. When you go to the local center, you're doing that. And in your private life, personal life, you're doing that. And by doing satsang that you're so fond of, and by serving God and Guru. And the only thing that needs to be done is to just increase the intensity of these three: sadhana, seva, and satsang. That's how, you don't have to think about anything else. How will I get these qualities? You don't have to think about how will I get rid of my hunger. You just have to eat the food, right? You don't think, okay, how I'm going to eat the food, then how I'm going to digest it, how am I going to be affected by it, and will I satisfy my hunger? It will do its work. You just eat the food. In the same way you do your sadhana, you do the seva, you engage in satsang, and automatically you'll receive these benefits that Bhagavan Shri Krishna talks about, that I'll follow this devotee, anubrajamyaham nityam, right? So I'll follow him always. So that's how, you just do what you have been learning for many years now. Just by doing that. There's nothing extra to be done. Does that answer your question? Okay. Yes.
Radha Devi Ji, I would like to ask you, so as all of us, we all have to go in our lives, not by choice, it's in our jobs, as students, as young people, as old people, as people of all ages, to talk.
Yes.
Like if I have a public speech that I have to do for school, I'm gonna have to go talk. Maharaji says don't come bolo,
Speak little, speak sweetly, kam bolo, meetha bolo.
Exactly. How do I remember God while I'm speaking?
When you start thinking of God every day, as a rule, every day, at different, at certain intervals throughout the day, your mind will get accustomed to thinking about God and Guru. Then it will become automatic that every so often you will just start thinking. then, a tree, looking at a tree will remind you. Looking at a desk will remind you. And also you should make associations, every time I see my cell phone, I'm going to think about God and Maharaji. Every time I see my teacher, I'm going to think about Maharaji. Every time I see, whatever. So you have associations like that? Every time I see flowers, I'm going to think about Sri Krishna. So make such associations so that, when you are getting your mind used to thinking about God and Guru, then even when you are, even when you are giving a speech in class or wherever you are, you will be able to think about. What was your question? How do I think about Sri Krishna? When? Yeah, when you're speaking. Just think that, yes, I am speaking. This is part of my curriculum. I have to give this speech, and I am so grateful to God and to God for giving me this tongue with which I can speak, and I will try to use it for the best purpose. Like that. Turn it towards God.
The reason I'm asking is sometimes I was just remembering, I had a science presentation in school,
Okay.
and I was trying to remember God while before it, but then when I was giving the presentation, instead of focusing on God, my mind was on delivering the best possible speech. How do I make it of best quality? How do I make it understandable? How do I make it more how do I make it more better? That's simply
How do you make a speech better?
No,
Or
just
dhyan better?
When I was actually talking in front of the class,
You're thinking of how to make it
I was thinking
better.
about how to speak.
And that's fine. It's fine.
Was that Maharaji says ro atoyam, remember God 24/7.
Atoyam, yes. The thing is, take the small steps first. When you're climbing a ladder, just go step by step. So take the lot of the other steps that everyone, including you, need to take. So take those steps, and then automatically it will happen that you will be able to think. But don't put this pressure on yourself that I gave a speech and I didn't even think about God. Just work on it day by day, every day. Don't miss a day. And I think you are definitely doing more sadhana and Rup Dhyan than the last time I saw you. So, there's an improvement, which is good. Am I right? You're doing more? Tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. You feel there's an improvement or not? I think anyway, you're being humble, modest, but I see a difference, and you are asking me such questions. So you are thinking more about this, which is good, and I suspect you're doing more sadhana, which is good, which is very good. But don't put this undue pressure on yourself. Just go ahead and be a student and do your sadhana, and the big things will work themselves out. You take the small steps. The big thing will be happening. Okay? Don't go with every little thing like that. Yes, of course.
So I was listening to a lecture about Maharaji about I can't speak right now.
Demotivation?
In sadhana.
Uh-huh.
So could you explain that more light, please? I didn't listen to the whole thing.
I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
Sometimes when I'm in sadhana, when I'm trying to go think about God, my mind doesn't work just thinking about something I saw earlier in the day, something I did, and then my intellect or whatever else there is trying to go think about God. My mind is thinking about the world. And then there's this tension, and then sometimes I just feel pissed off at myself, why am I over here? Why do I do this? Why am I not thinking about God? Why have I wasted so much time thinking about the same stuff that's keeping me here for countless lifetimes? And then how do I get over that?
Just take it easy, be calm, and like I said, just follow the day-to-day sadhana principles. Follow do your sadhana before going to school. In other words, spend some time, right? Do arti and, with your heart, not only the arti thali necessarily, but, do something, do Rup Dhyan, and then think to yourself all day long, from time to time, I'm going to think about my Guru and Bhagwan Shri Krishna. just take those steps and don't get so upset when you're not able to think. Just I don't know if you're doing this, if you're not doing sadhana diligently, that's the first thing to do. Just spend some time every day, and then these frustrations won't happen. You won't get frustrated. You take it, like I said, step by step, okay? Step by step. You're welcome. Yes, of course.
Any significance in the life when we're dreaming? Is there, if we are dreaming something negatively or positively, whatever it may be, is there any significance? Because whenever we go to sleep, I ask, think about God and sleep, Krishna, Radha, and think about that. So whenever, sometimes he get distracted and come and hugs me, and I just say, what happened to you? Said, yeah, demons are coming, Krishna is fighting, I come and hug Balram. So even though he is thinking about something, he is explaining those things. Is there any, whatever dreams we get, is there any significance in the life?
Dreams are not significant at all, because dreams are created by our mind, which is in a state of intoxication. So that's why we have very strange dreams. I'm flying up in the sky, I'm jumped up a mountain, I'm swimming a whole ocean, or whatever. Flying in the sky with, not in a plane. But how is that possible? So it's unrealistic situations that take place. So dreams are not to be valued at all. Dreams are just dreams. Aryan, in the back.
Radhe Radhe Devi Ji.
Radhe Radhe.
We have some questions from the YouTube. So a person said, is it necessary that a sadhak should get sattvic bhav other than tears?
I'm sorry, sattvic bhav?
Is it necessary that a sadhak should get other sattvic bhav other than tears?
It's a YouTube question. Well, welcome, first of all, YouTubers. No, tears are the only thing that the aspiring devotee should look out for. These are the words of Jagat Guru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj. Shri Maharajji was asked this question, and Maharajji said, why are you concerned about anything else? Just concentrate on tears. Just shed tears. That's all.
Thank you.
Yes.
Deviji, we've heard you say, Maharajji, according to Maharajji's philosophy, about how ultimately we all need to think of ourselves as gopis, to love Sri Krishna. My question is, so Radha and Krishna are the same. So while I'm glad that I'm a woman, for the menfolk then, could they aspire to attain Radharani?
No, not in the same way, because Shri Krishna is the only beloved, and Govinda eva purusho brahmadhyaha striya eva hi. So it is said in the scriptures that Shri Krishna is the only male, and everyone else, even Brahma, Vishnu, Shankar, everyone is a female, meaning he's the only beloved. So Radharani must be loved. She should be loved as our mother, as our Swamini, as our Sakhi, best friend, and as a daughter, as a child, but never as the Preyasi, because no, so only Shri Krishna is the Priyatam. That's all. That is why even a male who wishes to enter Madhurya Bhav relationship with Shri Krishna must create a bhavde that must imagine himself to be a female, a gopi, as you said. Yes. Okay.
Radhe Radhe Didi Ji. So my question is about, like, when when hard time comes, people think of God, but the situation is opposite for me. When things are going smooth, then my devotion is better. But when hard things come, uh, the focus on God goes away. Instead, the mind get fixated on the situation or someone or something which is causing that situation. And at those times, even the time spent in sadhana, even if you are putting that time, it is not going toward actually thinking about the God or Guru. You are just sitting there, but your mind is on the situation or the thing, how to get better or how to divert that.
By understanding the philosophy and the philosophy that when hard times befall us, when they come to us in life, then God is really gracing us. When hard times come, it's an opportunity for me to remember God even more. And this is an opportunity for me to have faith in God that even though it doesn't make sense to me, but He knows what He's doing, and this is good for me. I am too small a person, I have too small a mind and intellect to understand the big workings, the divine works of God, and He is being merciful. I don't need to worry about anything. And I think this happens with everybody. When hard times come, then you are even, putting the blame on God, or just saying, why? Why me? Why does this have to happen to me? So, by understanding the philosophy more, first of all, secondly, by following it even more diligently, and convincing the mind that this, whatever happens, it's the grace of God. This is, I would say, it's having more faith in God. When we have more faith in God, then when we will be able to just accept everything He gives. It's a test. It's absolutely a test from God. So what can you do at that time? What you can do is to convince your mind, again, using the philosophy. Maharaji always talked about convincing the mind. Convince the mind through logic, through the knowledge that you have been given, that no, you should not be feeling this way. You shouldn't be getting so caught up with this. Don't you have any faith in Him? No, I do have faith. Then having faith means not worrying. Right? Shri Radhe Hamari Sarkar Fikir Wohi Kahe Ki. So, by understanding that there's something I need to correct within myself, then we just go ahead and try to correct it. And over a period of time, it gets corrected.
It's not more about blaming the God, but even if you are putting the time during the sadhana, the mind wanders away. That is the challenge.
So
Not
then,
having the faith. Faith
yes.
is not the problem. The faith is there. Doing the sadhana, you are putting the effort on the time. But the mind is distracted. That coming it back to the point where you were, that is what I feel.
So the mind is assessing the situation. This has happened and this has happened. So then write it down somewhere. Tell the mind, let's think about this later. Let me do sadhana first. Let me think about it later. It's the mind that we are all working with the mind, right? So you just have to tell the mind, I know you're thinking about this, you're not able to do sadhana, but here's what, we will think about this later, not right now. Put it down somewhere in writing somewhere if that helps you. Then put it down somewhere on your computer, on your handheld device, on your phone, whatever, or on in a notebook. I will think about this later. So the mind says, okay, later, let's think about it later. Right now, let's do this. And what really always works is shedding tears, asking your guru for help. I need help, I'm your child, and I'm having a very difficult time doing sadhana. And just sense of helplessness, genuine sense of helplessness, that always works. Shedding tears of helplessness.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Radhe Radhe Didi Ji.
Radhe Radhe.
So my question is regarding a day-to-day challenge that I face most of the time. like during the sadhana time, we try to develop feelings like being humble, being innocent. But once we go to the work, where we spend most of the day, there we have to do exactly the opposite. We cannot be humble, we have to be political.
Yes.
So how, first challenge is having to maintain two different personalities within myself. And then the second is, sometimes we get to take that same thing, behavior, to our fellow satsangis. Once we come back to our spiritual side of it, we tend to carry the same behavior and show that thing, competitive nature or political nature, to the fellow satsangis as well. So how do we draw a line, being in the work life and being in the devotional side of it?
It's completely understandable that when you go to work, you can't show your humility, and people will chew you out and throw you out. It will happen. So what do? You don't act so humble on the outside. Just do what you need to do on the outside, but don't let that affect your inside. You don't become crafty or political on the inside, or don't become harsh on the inside, but sometimes you have to speak harshly on the outside. So the trick is to show a different side, but not to become different. So you're not really becoming different, you're just showing yourself to be, because you need to show that side at your place of work. But you don't become like that. So that when you're in satsang and you're dealing with fellow satsangis, you're not going to change yourself, because you never changed at work. You were just showing a different side of you that you needed to show. You need to show that you are, you can't say, oh well, I'm the dust of your lotus feet and all that. Okay, you're the dust of my feet, I'm going to treat you like dirt, right? It's the world we're dealing with, so you don't do that, but you keep those internally. Try to see Krishna in everyone. That's the basic principle in devotion. Try to see God in everyone. But yeah, God is in everyone. But God is in you, I respect you. But at the same time, I will not accept this behavior. I will not accept that, your actions, whatever it may be. So don't feel like that on the inside, but show that side outside, externally, because the situation demands it. So you don't change on the inside.
Thank you, Devi Ji.
Welcome.
Radhe Radhe Didi Ji. My question is, I feel like stealing time from my work to spend here, or do any seva that is needed of me. Is it right? Because I want to earn my bread and butter so I can survive, and want my work not to be affected by so much of, and I like doing it, I want to do it, I know it's good for me that I'm here, but at the same time I feel like during the day if I have office work, and I'm stealing time from them, purposely, because I really like to. It is okay to, or should I have a plan for the entire year? When should I keep my time off for satsang and seva? Mainly satsang I have to do every day, but seva, I would take some guidelines from you.
Mm-hmm. Everybody has a different way of working. Some people like to make a schedule, stick to schedule, and then sometimes you need to get off schedule too. And some people are more, I don't know, for the lack of word, for freewheelers, I don't know if that's the right word, but they don't work well with the schedule. So they don't understand how they can work with the schedule. And the ones who work with the schedule, they can't understand how anybody can work, without. So it depends on what works best for you, but as far as work and satsang is concerned, you have to create a balance. If you know that you're going to lose your job over this, then naturally you don't spend time in the mandir. But you have to just see how much you can do. And not only the job, then there's family. So there's spouse, there's job. So there's the other demands put on your time. So you just have to juggle these. That's why the householder's life is very challenging, and that's why every sannyasi bows down to the householder, because it's very difficult to juggle everything together. Because the sannyasi doesn't have to juggle all that, but the householder does. So It's whatever works for you.
I feel like I pray to God and Guru and say, I'm taking some time off from my office work and I'm going there. I'm sure you'll take care of it. And actually, they do take care of it.
So they're doing their job for you. Yes. Well, I think what you really are saying is that, you love your seva and you enjoy it so much and you want to be doing that more and more. It's good not to say like you take care of it, but just having the faith that, then within reason, you're an intelligent, logical person, you know that what you can get away with and what you can't, really. That's what you have to do. There is a dilemma, of course. Your heart is in one place, but your body has to be in another place. But just create a balance and do what you need to do. And so ends our Q&A session. Boliye Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri